Hey, what's up, everybody? Frederick Polk here. Well, it's time for another edition of Dollars and Cents. And by cents, I mean common sense. And today, we're talking about the state of Nebraska, the Cornhusker state, which, well, they're in the midst of a find out phase when reality comes knocking on the MAGA worldview, as it eventually does. So, why am I talking about Nebraska? Well, apparently there's a whole bunch of videos going around about, Nebraska's going to be out of money in 6 months, that they're going to go bankrupt. And people are freaking out. Now, why is that happening? Well, it's a multitude of reasons, and I'm going to attempt to unpack it for you. Because this is something that happens in a lot of red states, and it doesn't get reported on. But it's the thing that might hurt red states the most, especially with this House bill that just went through that cut Medicaid, SNAP, WIC, you name it. And especially if they start cutting Social Security. So what am I talking about? Well, basically, Nebraska is an agricultural state. Now, there's not a whole lot of small farms left, family farms. Jess Piper had a good piece about this, and I'll put it in the description. What's going on in rural Missouri? And the same thing's kind of going on in Nebraska. Most of this business is big agricultural business. And these are the people that hire the undocumented workers. Now, notice that those CEOs are never put in jail or never fined or never prosecuted. No. It's always the people that are poor and disenfranchised and don't have citizenship. But aren't they takers, Fred? Don't they take advantage of all this stuff that we get as citizens without paying taxes? Well, no. It's true, they probably don't pay income taxes because technically they get paid less than minimum wage. But here's where they do pay taxes. They pay them in the form of regressive taxes, which is how red states get their money. Now, what do I mean by regressive taxes? Well, it's regressive because they hurt poor people more than they hurt rich people. These are your sales tax, they're your property taxes, and your licensures and fees. Well, how do they hurt? Well, Fred, how do they hurt poor people, man, over rich people? I don't understand. If sales tax is 10%, what's the difference? Well, let's say I'm a rich man, you're a poor man. We're stopping over at the convenience store. I pull up in my Jaguar, and I'm in a rush, and it's like, oh man, let me go grab something to eat. We both grab the same amount of food. Let's say $10. And that 10% costs us $1, right? Okay. Each pay $11. I make $150,000 a year, and you make $50,000 a year. We're each paying $11. Who does that hurt more? Or I'm sorry, who does that impact more? Impacts you. You make less than I do. It's more of a percentage of your income. Or how about there's a flat fee on, let's say, a car. $600, got to pay it to the state to register that vehicle. Or maybe let's just say $60. How about that? Who does that impact more? You at $50,000 or me at $150,000? Well, you. Same thing with property taxes. If we pay 5%, now my house may be worth more than yours, but as a percentage of income, it don't matter because that one doesn't hurt me as much because my house is worth more than yours. And maybe it's based on, say, square feet or lot size or all these other little tricks they like to pull, to kind of get those rich folks' taxes down, right? What does that do to your state revenue, you think? Well, it lowers it, makes it harder, puts more of it on the back of poor people than it does rich folks. Because the theory being that, if rich folks have more money, that they'll generate more economic push. That's not the case. They've done studies that actually it's poorer people that generate more economic stimulus. Why? Because they got to spend it. They got to go out and buy the food. They got to go out. They can't afford to save it. Whereas rich folks can afford to hoard it. They can hold it back. So that brings us to Nebraska. So even though these undocumented immigrants, they may not contribute to federal taxes, they don't get any federal benefits. So it's kind of a wash there. But they're still spending money on sales tax. If they own property, they're still, or they're contributing to people that are paying property taxes. They're paying licensures and fees if they got to go do that. They're spending money. They're part of that economic engine. And typically because they're poorer, they're having that larger effect. And so when your governor goes to D.C. and he threatens to bring in ICE, these people self-deport or they go for greener pastures. And so now, you've lost a good chunk of your workforce, which means you've lost a good chunk of your revenue. And I want you to think of taxes like that. Taxes are revenue for the state or the federal government. That's what they take in to be able to pay teachers, to be able to fund roads and schools and all these things that we like to have. And because of the way these regressive taxes are set up and they don't have state income tax, they rely on federal dollars like, you guessed it, Medicaid, Medicare, WIC, SNAP, all these things that just got cut in that House budget. You ain't gonna have enough money to pay the bills, Nebraska. And that's because your tax base is too low. Think about it like this. Me and you want to run a nightclub. We want people to come in and have a good time. Want them to dance, want them to drink, want them to cut up, relax. And we say, you know what? We're going to run a special. Opening night, we're going to do drinks half price, no cover charge. Oh, we get a lot of people showing up. Heck yeah, we do. But, they get mad at us when then we decide, hey, we can't run that special no more. We got to raise prices here. Well, I ain't coming back. So we keep it half price. And before you know it, hell, we're shelling out more than people are paying for drinks. We can't pay the bills. We can't pay our staff. We can't buy new inventory. And before you know it, we're going broke. That's what happens to red states. They basically need these federal dollars because, their politicians don't want to raise their taxes. They don't want to be self-supporting. It's actually the blue states with their economic engine. They're the ones that contribute the most in federal dollars. And then those federal dollars are given to the red states, the welfare states, because, they just simply can't thrive on their own. And right now, Daddy Trump wants to turn off that federal spigot. He wants to give more money to the billionaires. So all these schools in the rural areas that rely on federal dollars, it's going to be even worse. Or these small towns that basically have no reason to exist where they're at economically because whatever it used to be 30, 40, 50 years ago has moved on. And so it's just kind of a town and it's being held up by federal dollars. That's about to get cut off. Don't have a stoplight, don't have a store because, you can't run it without federal dollars. There's no easy solution to this other than, this has been about 40, 50 years in the making. And now, like I said before in another video, those chickens are coming home to roost. Those creditors are looking to be paid. And you can't afford to keep on the way you've been keeping on. Nebraska's in that mess. And I don't think Daddy Trump's going to bail you out of this one. And I don't think Elon's going to find enough federal waste to help you out either. Matter of fact, he He thinks y'all are the waste. And that's what's getting cut. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Keep the faith, defend democracy. I'll see you later.